2014, and Wall Street is humming along as usual. Markets are moving, traders are making bets, and big banks like JPMorgan Chase feel invincible behind their multi-million-dollar firewalls. But lurking in the shadows? A group of cybercriminals about to pull off one of the most devastating digital heists in history. This isn't your typical bank robbery with ski masks and getaway cars. No, this is the new frontier of crime. And the masterminds? A mix of Russian hackers, Wall Street hustlers, and smooth-talking con men who saw an opportunity too good to resist. It started with a whisper, a faint digital footprint that no one at JPMorgan Chase even noticed. Somewhere deep in the bank's network, vulnerabilities left open due to lax security and budget cuts became the perfect doorway. And through it, the hackers slithered in. They didn't make a sound, didn't trip any alarms, because they weren't after money. Not yet. First, they needed something far more valuable: data. For months, they moved undetected, mapping out the bank's systems, siphoning off customer records, financial transactions, and internal emails. By the time JPMorgan even realized they had been hacked, the attackers had already stolen data on 76 million households and 7 million businesses. That's not just a security breach. That's an entire economy being compromised. But here's the kicker. They weren't just interested in stealing information. They were about to use it to play the stock market like a rigged casino. The mastermind behind the technical breach? Andrei Turin. And he didn't have to pull off some Hollywood-style hack to get in. Instead, he used a trick so simple, it's almost laughable: finding weak spots in JPMorgan's digital defenses. Think of a bank's security system like a giant fortress with high walls. But even the strongest walls can have tiny cracks, and all it takes is one well-placed crowbar to force your way in. Turin and his team found that crowbar by targeting a smaller third-party company that worked with JPMorgan. This company had weak security, and once the hackers got in through them, they had a backdoor straight into the bank's core systems. From there, they did what any clever thief would do. They snuck around quietly. Instead of triggering alarms, they carefully collected login credentials from JPMorgan employees. They studied how the system worked. Then, using simple but effective tricks, like fake logins and hidden malware, they unlocked the gates to the bank's treasure trove of data. Meet the brains behind this operation. Gary Shalan. Not your typical hoodie-wearing, basement-dwelling hacker. Shalan was a businessman with big ambitions. He understood that in the modern world, information was the real gold. And now, he had more of it than anyone on Wall Street. Shalan didn't work alone. He built a dream team of cybercriminals, traders, and financial wizards, each with a specific role. One of his key partners? Joshua Samuel Aaron, a smooth talker who could sell an illusion to even the savviest investor. Then there was Ziv Orenstein, the logistics guy, making sure the stolen data turned into real, spendable cash. Their plan? Pump and dump schemes on steroids. They used stolen data to find small, obscure stocks, companies no one was paying attention to. Then, through fake investment websites and email campaigns, they hyped these stocks to unsuspecting investors. The price shot up. Once enough people had bought in, Shalan and his crew cashed out, leaving thousands of investors holding worthless shares. It was market manipulation on a scale no one had ever seen before. And the money? It was pouring in. Take, for instance, a tiny biotech company that no one had ever heard of. Shalan's team spread fake news about a groundbreaking cancer treatment in development. They forged press releases, created bogus analyst reports, and flooded investment forums with insider tips. Investors, seeing what looked like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, jumped in. The stock shot up from $2 to $15 in days. Then, just as quickly, the team dumped their shares. The stock crashed to $1.50 overnight, leaving regular investors in financial ruin. Retirement savings vanished. College funds were wiped out. And Shalon? He walked away with millions. By now, Shalon's team wasn't just making money. They were printing it. Millions of dollars flowed through their hands, and they spent it like kings. Private jets, luxury yachts, multi-million-dollar apartments. One report even mentioned them stuffing $3 million in cash into a safe, just in case. But here's the thing about easy money. It makes you sloppy. And when you're stealing from some of the most powerful financial institutions in the world, the clock is always ticking. The first red flags appeared when market regulators noticed odd trading patterns. Some traders seemed to have access to information before it was public. At first, it looked like luck or incredible intuition. But as the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, dug deeper, they realized it wasn't skill. It was a cyber attack on Wall Street itself. Meanwhile, the FBI's cybercrime unit, led by Special Agent B.J. Kang, a man feared by every financial criminal in America, was piecing together the puzzle. When Hold Security Inc. finally detected the breach in July 2014, the game changed. The FBI discovered weak spots in filing companies' systems that led them to the hackers' trail. Every transaction, every email, every IP address mistake added up. It wasn't long before the feds made their move. Interpol issued international arrest warrants. Law enforcement agencies in multiple countries were on high alert. Shalon and Orenstein were arrested in Israel. Aaron, knowing the walls were closing in, fled to Russia. But there was no escape. He was eventually extradited and brought to face justice. Then there was Andrei Tiurin, another key hacker behind the scheme. The FBI tracked him down in the Republic of Georgia, and in a dramatic extradition, he was flown to the U.S. and sentenced to 12 years in prison. The charges? Securities fraud, wire fraud, hacking, money laundering. You name it, they did it. The most terrifying part? The hackers never even touched individual accounts. They didn't need to. They played on greed, trust, and human nature. They let victims willingly hand over their money, believing they were making a smart investment. So how do you protect yourself? Here's what you can do. Use a password manager. Unique, complex passwords are your best defense against brute force attacks. Enable two-factor authentication, especially for your banking and email accounts. Limit personal information on social media. Hackers use this to craft convincing scams. Think before you click. Phishing scams are getting smarter. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. The digital world is the new Wild West. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and don't let the next cyber heist make you its victim.